Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so this seems like a pretty good time to count down the top 10 gold cards in the Pokemon TCG right now. There's a lot of gold cards. We've been having these. Now, when I say gold cards, I should be nice and clear. We are going from the Sword and Shield expansion forward. All right? We're not doing any pre-Sword and Shield, partly because it gets super awkward, but honestly, partly because most Sword and Shield sets you can pick up relatively hassle-free nowadays. If we start going back, there are certain sets from recent years that have gotten very, very expensive, so I think it's better to stick to the Sword and Shield expansion. And we have had all except for Silver Tempest. I will do kind of a final Sword and Shield Gold video when Silver Tempest is out and we've, got a nice list of all of those cards. For now, we're going everywhere from Sword and Shield up. Now, there are a bunch that didn't make the list. Double Turbo came pretty gosh darn close, but unfortunately did not make it. And similarly, Ordinary Rod came pretty gosh darn close, but unfortunately did not make it. Both of those cards are coming in around about $23. We're using TCG Player, we're using eBay. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and things do change quite quickly. So as always, take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt. We're doing the best we can here, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing the best we can. But that seems about right. Those are somewhere in the region of $23 cards, and these ones are honestly pretty easy. Double Turbo sees a bunch of play in a bunch of decks. Ordinary Rod sees a bunch of play in a bunch of decks. These are very playable cards, and if people want to be blinging out their decks, these are the ones you want to be using. Nice and simple. Also, it's quite nice because this list we will have a bunch of trainers on because people are blinging out their decks. So in at number 10, we've got Path to the Peak. And this one is very much a playability standpoint. Not great for me, who's trying to collect the Kato Stadiums, but this is a beautiful Kato Stadium. It's got Snom on, but it's not for the artwork, it's for the playability. It's a phenomenal stadium that turns off abilities of rulebox Pokemon on both sides of the board. And basically, it's very, very good. And it sees a bunch of play. And it really is as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. It really is as simple as that. It is an extremely good card that a lot of people are playing. And that means that everybody wants to have the big fancy version, the shiny version for their deck. And that's exactly what we've got. In at number 9, we've got Giratina, and this is kind of interesting to me, because on the previous list, we actually saw Hisuian Samurott on this list. And now Hisuian Samurott, nowhere near, ladies and gentlemen. Nowhere near. And the reason is extremely simple. That deck people thought was going to be good. The price jumped up. That deck is not good. The price jumped back down again. And it really is as simple as that. Giratina. Now, Giratina is a very popular Pokemon, so expect this one to stay higher than a lot of them. But it really very much is the case that they're just not keeping their value when they're not playable. This is, as it stands at the moment, a very playable card. And for that reason, it's on the list. Hisuian Zoroark is not on the list, because it's not doing as well, and for that reason, it's not getting anywhere near as high. Although, like I've said, Giratina is still pretty gosh darn popular, so that does help to explain it. One funny thing, of course, I told you that those gold cards for the trainer gallery were not holding their value, and they're not. Pikachu is a sub $10 card. It's nowhere near this list, ladies and gentlemen. It wouldn't even make the top 20. Not even close. Pikachu's nowhere to be seen. Now, in at number 8, we've got ourselves MEWTWO, and there is an element of this which is actually not due to playability. Now, this is, I'm bearing in mind, right, we went $24, $26, $27. I like to go to the nearest $5 where I can. Until we get to number 3 on the list, I really can't do that because they're all so close together. MEWTWO here. MEWTWO's a decent enough deck. And I know a bunch of people are playing it, and I know a bunch of people are liking it. I also follow all the tournament results extremely closely because I'm obsessed with this game and all of that. MEWTWO ain't making waves. MEWTWO is not doing great. So this is the first card on the list that we see it coming on here, not necessarily for playability reasons, but because people really like MEWTWO. In at number 7, we've got Palkia, however, and this is very much for playability reasons. Palkia is great. It is one of the very, 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 very best decks in the game right now, and it's top cutting all over the place. It's top cutting like every big tournament we see. Palkia is amazing. And don't get me wrong, Palkia is a box legendary, and people always love the box legendaries because it's kind of, you play Pokemon Pearl, what's your reward for getting through Pokemon Pearl? Palkia. So yes, absolutely. And obviously, brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they're the updated versions of Gen 4 games. But my point is, people like the box legendaries. It's why we see their value, pretty much all the cards going up just that little bit higher than we generally tend to see. But make no mistake, this is largely a playability thing. Now, in at number 6, and this is a little bit weird, Water Energy. In at number 6, we have got the gold version of Water Energy. Of course, we have seen that in the Sword and Shield era, we did get gold versions of all of these energies. Water was in Chilling Reign. And this is somewhere in the region of about a $31 card. Now, for what it's worth, the only other one that really made the list was Psychic. And if you're paying attention, you will notice that Psychic Energy coming in at about $25 should have put it in at number 10 on this list. And I put Path to the Peak on the list instead. I figured we'd just talk about it in this part of the video. But yes, if you do want to be a pedant, and I am kind of into pedantry, yes, I suppose Psychic Energy should have been number 10 on the list. Sorry. Fun little fact, they're both from Chilling Reign. Now, the reason Water Energy is number 1 is because water decks are huge right now. Simple as that. The reason Psychic Energy is very high is Psychic decks are very big right now. Those Lost Box decks are absolutely using it. So yeah, Psychic and Water Energy are big. The thing is, when I did this video last time, it wasn't Water Energy. And when I do this video next time, it probably won't be Water Energy. There's this weird thing going on. It's not that weird, to be honest with you. But when we've got a set of Gold Energy like we've had in the Sword and Shield era, we do very much see that the value of the energy goes up according to what's good right now. Right now, Fire decks ain't that good, ladies and gentlemen. Fire decks just ain't doing it for pretty much anybody right now. And I think there's potential for them to be good in the near future, but right now, Fire decks aren't that great. And that's why the Fire Energy from Fusion Strike is a $10 card, because, bit of play here and there, not huge. Grass decks. Grass decks are not very good right now. So if we have a look at this, we see the Grass Energy from Fusion Strike is again about a $10 card. So if you like this blingy energy, little wassy tip here for you in the middle of the video, find typings like Grass and Fire that aren't particularly good, and these are from Fusion Strike, so they should be a little more expensive, because Fusion Strike doesn't have that many good pulls. You know what? Pick them up while they're cheap. Why not? In at number 5, we've got Arceus at about a $32 card, and this really shouldn't surprise anyone. Arceus is phenomenal. And whereas Palkia is a good deck in a couple of different builds, Arceus is a good deck in a billion different builds. And I think Arceus is going to remain good basically for a long time anyway. One of the interesting things with Arceus is that it accelerates energy only to Pokemon V, and Pokemon V are going away with the introduction of Scarlet and Violet, which is going to make stuff like Arceus a lot less good. But we've got ourselves a very popular legendary Pokemon that is part of a great deck. Sure, it might fall off with Scarlet and Violet getting big. Until then, Arceus is great. Now, in at number 3, we've got Quick Ball at $33. Yes, this list is very close together and subject to change on an almost daily basis. Quick Ball goes and searches out your basic Pokemon. It is a staple in basically every deck. It is huge. Everybody loves it. One thing that's very interesting, though, is that Quick Ball is actually not as good now as it has been for most of the Sword and Shield era. Remember, this was in base Sword and Shield. And the reason is Battle VIP Pass. A lot of decks now are being built around Battle VIP Pass, getting all your basics turn 1, and that means Quick Ball is seeing a lot less play. Still a phenomenal card, still seeing a huge amount of play in a huge amount of decks, but one thing that I do find very interesting, Quick Ball is not the overwhelmingly phenomenal, redonkulous card it has been in the past. It's still good, but it's not the redonkulous card it has been in the past, because Battle VIP Pass has overtaken it a little bit. In at number 3, we've got Scoop Up Net at about a $35 card. This is where we start seeing that tiny little bit of separation. And Scoop Up Net, it's just great. It lets you pick up your non-rule box Pokemon or non-V and GX Pokemon. And I say not non-rule box, because remember, things like Radiant Pokemon have a rule box but can still be picked up with Scoop Up Net. And it really is as simple as this is just a phenomenal card. And there are so many decks that take advantage of this. It's absolutely ridiculous. The Drizzile engine that a lot of decks rely on, yeah, it uses this. The Comfy engine that a lot of decks are now relying on, yeah, that uses this. I'm not going to go through all the different uses of it. There are way too many. We'd be here all day. The point is, this is absolutely flat out, over the top, phenomenal. And there is a very, very, very good reason why this is number 3 on the list. And it doesn't seem like this is going anywhere anytime soon. It really is over the top, wonderfully phenomenal, brilliant. In at number 2, we've got the Mew from Celebrations coming in at $40. There is a little bit of separation coming in here. It's a hard card to pull. At least I found it was a hard card to pull. I never pulled this card. Now, I did get gifted it by lovely people, which is amazing, but I never actually pulled this card. I pulled everything else. This is just... It's the only card from the 25-card Celebration set, which was pretty difficult to pull, and it's playable, and it's actually seen more play as time goes by, and it's Mew. And Mew is a phenomenally popular Pokemon. So yeah, this was coming in at number 2. It was always coming in at number 2. But in at number 2, we've still got Snorlax. Now, this has been a theme all the way through. Since Snorlax came around in Chilling Reign, it has been the most expensive gold card. And I don't really understand it. I mean, Snorlax is brilliant. Snorlax is the second best Gen 1 Pokemon after Porygon. Don't even bother arguing in the comment section. That's just the way it is. And it's a decently playable card. It sees play in a bunch of decks, lets you draw until you've got 7 cards in your hand, ends your turn. Bunch of decks play Snorlax. Snorlax is a popular Pokemon. I understand why Snorlax is on this list. That is in no way, shape, or form controversial. But Snorlax coming in at number 1, 75% higher than the second best card? I don't get it. Chilling Reign is not that expensive of a set generally. Snorlax is no more difficult to pull than any other gold card. Is it really more popular than Mew? More playable than Scoop Up Net? More playable than Mew? I think probably at the moment Mew's a better card. And it's probably a more popular Pokemon. I don't really understand why Snorlax is number 1. But the fact of the matter is, Snorlax is always number 1. Last time we did this list, Snorlax was number 1. And I feel fairly confident in saying that next time we do this list, Snorlax is gonna be number 1. So yeah, don't expect that to change, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently that's the way it is. And those are the top 10 cards in terms of value, gold cards in the Sword and Shield era. And now it's over to you guys. Which of these cards did you pull? Which of these cards did you buy? Which of these cards do you desperately want? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel get some bonus podcasts. You could join a Discord and chat with us, and I answer all your questions on the bonus pod. It's a lot of fun, quite frankly. I think so. And you can get shout-outs on the videos, like the lovely James Wadesky, who has been one of our supporters for a few months now and is a very lovely person. So thank you very much for the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.